Hello everybody, welcome back to World of Madness here on... Well, welcome back to Dungeon Maker on the World of Madness server. Okay, so... my strip mine is going very well. There's maybe like one more layer to it, really. And I got very tired of having to hand sort everything, so... now I've just got storage silos for most of the different kinds of stone, because it turns out we keep needing more and more and more of the stuff. So, yeah, that's a thing. And also it makes it a lot easier to go and give Chris or some of this stuff. I just put like a hopper down here and then a shulker box or 17, and then everything's fine. Works lovely. And it's not dreadfully like complicated stuff. Here's the like water channel that we use to get stuff from the bottom of the iron farm. Here's the storage silos that we used for the iron in the iron farm. It's all very straightforwards. And I'm gonna need my redstone box for how we start this episode off, I believe, and probably also my lumber box, because Lord knows. And last episode, we put together a brand new tree farm. And that tree farm is very good. It's certainly effective, but it has some shortcomings. Specifically in the fact that it pretty much can only grow oak wood. Because oak is the only tree that don't give a flying monkeys how close it is to another tree. And that's fine, but we, predominantly, around these parts, use spruce. So, having a whole ton of, like, oak logs is helpful for crafting things, but not so much for building things. And, oh, hey, Gray, how you doing? And today, we are going to be building a lot. So, we need a solution to getting a whole ton of at least spruce, ideally also dark oak, but I'm not 100% certain I can accomplish that one today. But we can definitely manage spruce. But the reason that we can't currently do spruce wood down here is fairly simple. It's because a spruce tree requires 2 blocks of space all around, like, after about a block above the ground. So if it doesn't have that, it will basically never grow. And because we only shove our lumber here 1 block over, we never have that. We've got the pistons all over here, we've got the tree all over here, so we need to rework this. And I've been having a look at the slime blocks a bit more, and I think I have something approaching a solution. I'm not sure. Probably down here is like the best place to show this off. It's a nice flat plane. I think if we arrange sticky pistons and slime blocks in just the right way, we might be able to make... well, I guess you'll see. I'm going to need... I really need a lot more quartz, jeez. I'm going to need some cobble, and I'm going to need a couple of azuras, I think. But I'll get the start of this set up, at the very least. Okay. So if we have sticky pistons pointing at each other, essentially, like this, not actually pointing at each other, because that would basically make them do nothing. They would just, like, push each other back and forth. But now, because of the way that sticky pistons work, these are essentially 2 different sides, each with its own sticky piston. So, do I have anything to actually trigger this? I guess I could use this, couldn't I? Okay, so if we trigger this, that side with that sticky piston goes out, and if we trigger this, that side with that sticky piston goes out. And if we do that fast enough, such as with this torch, I guess, a little bit slower than that. Nope, okay, we need a 1-tick pulse, which means I am going to need an observer. 1 hot second. Hurry, hurry to bed. There we are. Because if it's dark for me, it's even darker on YouTube. There we are. Although it's not really dark for me. I prefer to play stuff on moody, honestly. But if your footage is moody brightness, it is basically a black square on YouTube. Ah, thank you, YouTube compression. Anyways, we now have some observers. So, if I put an observer not facing that way, let's just use the stone bricks, why not? If I put an observer facing that way, and an observer facing this way, and then trigger that. Aha! Yes! Okay, it's gonna ram into the wall and then it'll be fine. So what's happening here is that both of these observers are updating, because they update when they're freshly placed as well as any block in front of them changes, even if it's just to, like, more air. And that is sending a pulse into their respective pistons. Only their respective pistons, because the other one has been pushed a block away at that time. Now, this, I believe, is actually bidirectional. If I was to trigger this side first instead of that side, it would be flying off into the sea right now. And if I combine more slime blocks with this, then I can actually get stuff shoved. I can basically make a flying machine that has, like, whatever I need onto it. Do I happen to have any obsidian or something that I could use as, like, dispensers will do the trick, I think. Just want to make sure before I try building anything else that it doesn't go flying off into the sea. So let's just plonk you guys there. Okay. So let me see if I've got... Do I really only have the two? I must have... Oh, I definitely have more slime blocks elsewhere. I just don't think I have them... hang on, the inn's got, like, a crafting table. I think I could use that. So yeah, if I use the same principle as the flying machine with the observer pulsing every time it gets moved, I can send a signal to... Excuse me. I can send a signal to some to some regular pistons, and then that'll allow me to basically push about 15 blocks deep. I forget what the actual limit is on pistons. Lord knows I rarely ever hit it. And from there, we'll be able to move more of a tree. The only hard part then is actually figuring out how to get it back. But anyways, let's see if we can't work this out. So let's just use that. Okay, so we want that there, get rid of those, and return these, and I probably should have done these a bit slower, but it's fine because slime is just so convenient, so incredibly convenient. Okay, now let's have that there, so we can put a observer there, and this can more or less go back where it was before, so look to there. Okay, and let's have a dispenser right here, just in case this decides to go flying off elsewhere. Okay, and now if we put a regular piston here, the signal that goes into that sticky piston should also come out there. Okay, so then all we need to do... actually, torch should do the trick. There. Okay, and if we just trigger this... Yeah, there we go, we can see the piston moving. And it just happily stops. Okay, what problems does this present? Firstly, it might try and hook onto, like, some, like, leaves, I guess, and depending on what kind of tree we're growing, it might have branches that could be a problem as well, because leaves are immovable, but branches certainly aren't. There you go. Fun fact, dispensers have a state for when they're powered. So if we look over, like, here, we can see triggered false, right there. I'll try to put an arrow there so people know what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, the problem I see otherwise is just how do we know when it's gone down? Because we can try pushing stuff out, but that's going to be a huge, huge machine. Like, a standard oak tree, even with our cap over there that's limiting it, preventing it from going huge, is still like 6 blocks tall. A 6-block tall here is not going to work. So, we probably need to take the tree along its, like, narrowest profile, which is vertical. Vertically, trees are, like, maybe 2 by 2. That's probably the best idea, in which case we need a tree that goes down. But trees can be variable height, so if we try to shove this into a machine, it might not go all the way in one go, in which case we can't necessarily know for certain how, like, at what level this machine is when we try and trigger this in order to send it back. So we need to have this machine in such a fashion that it can self-return. I might have an idea for that. So, hang on, if I... Let's see. Just plonk those there for a second. If I have this observer looking at that block, and then some kind of delay here. Oh, redstone lamp will do the trick. There. Okay. A couple of blocks there. And then if I put the thing down here, the observer... oh, I might have... Never mind. Slime. Slime is just like the ultimate resource when you're trying to engineer things in an expedient manner. Okay. So now, there'll be a moment of delay between these two, because it has to power that, trigger this, trigger that, and then power that, which means it'll move slower, but that little bit of delay might mean it registers when it's stopped. Okay. Yes! Okay. Okay, right, yes, my mad science is coming to a head. We have a self-returning flying machine. Okay, so then we just need to trigger basically something on this end, and then it'll fly all the way through. So then I just need to have my pistons on there, and then it should just happily shove things. Okay, obviously we need to build this vertically, but I don't think it'll care too much. Okay, right. Well, folks, we have definitely a noisy but interesting new technology. Okay, so with this, we can get our tree farm to actually make spruce, because we just need to push down the middle of it, and then we can just send that slightly underground, push that to the side, and then same thing as we have over there already, we'll just have, like, a wall of spruce. Okay, right, I'm gonna go set that up, and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, that was a fair bit more tinkering than I expected it to be, but the tree farm is now fully equipped to handle oak, spruce, and potentially birch if we have any need for it. And it has had quite a bit of an overhaul at that, because I, in the course of developing some wood from this thing, discovered that there was some design flaws. Namely, that because trees can be variable in height, they don't necessarily fill up this whole verticality, so it's better for the system if it actually pulses these pistons every single time that the machine returns, and hence when there is a tree fully done. So that then also necessitated a reworking of the system over here, because I could no longer fully rely upon this bottom block to be actually there. So now it actually gets from around about the middle of it, which we can fairly guarantee we should always get at least 3 logs out of a given tree. That's that's pretty given, I want to say. And I also had to move the TNT duper up a little higher so it didn't detonate itself, although that's unrelated for the most part. And obviously, with a system that relies on shoving things all the way out the way, we had to make sure we didn't get rid of our dirt block, so that gets pushed through and pulled back by a double piston extender to make sure it doesn't get grabbed by the slime blocks on the side, which is also powered by this, this is RS NAND. Either way, it's a memory. It's a memory gate. I forget. It's been many a year since I studied memory gates, and that is swapped over by detecting of a tree. It is then swapped back by the flying machine returning, which is itself a little T flip-flop up there, so because it pulses twice, so it pulses once when it's on the way, and then once when it gets back, and that sends a pulse through to that, which then resets this memory gate and extends all of that. And just to make this especially grand, I tied a signal from here over to a very simple little, like, clock control over there, which allows us to actually have auto-growing trees. So now, literally, the only thing I really have to do is stand here and just plonk a sapling there, and off it goes. Oh, it's so lovely. It's so nice. And wait for it. There we go. So that is all of the lumber, and we've still got access to all of the leaves. I do need to come up with some means by which to ensure I get all of the saplings that drop out of these things, but it's less of a concern. They hang around long enough that I can grab them with just, like, a diamond shovel. Like, just... a diamond hoe will do the trick, pretty much, so it's fine, I think. So that means I can get stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of lumber. And, oh yes, the reason this is tied into that rather than just running constantly is because if that block right there is being powered, when the flying machine is going through it, it will mess the flying machine up because it will power the pistons coming down. But that is a fully functional, and highly functional at that. It's pretty nice. You only really get an actual harvest like once every 5 trees, but it's pretty good. But now that we have plenty of lumber, and night is drawing in, it is time to build a bunch more houses. Oh dear lord, that was a long one. So I actually planned to get the whole island covered in houses today, which would be somewhere in the region of about 40, I think I ended up counting. And, okay, firstly, I grossly underestimated the amount of spruce wood required to do such a thing. Secondly, I grossly underestimated how much time would be necessary for such a thing. So we've actually only gotten about 7 new houses, which is still significantly more than the 3 that we actually had before. And I think they're looking quite nice. They don't really have interiors like the original ones do, like that. I probably need to buy a whole ton more lanterns and such, just give them that nice little bit of ambiance. But They're very, very picturesque. This one over here needs a road coming around to it, but it is also quite nice. I picture this one as being maybe the kind that, like, the headmaster of the school or something lives in, so there's just a little bit more fancy to this one. And, ooh, they're pretty cookie-cutter, I will say that. They're fairly cookie-cutter. They're more or less, like, the exact same sort of basic design. You've got the spruce beams with the smooth diorite. They're very much alike. And oh yeah, here we have the only one in the entire village so far that actually has a basement level with a mysterious back door over there. And all of them have beds that have been retrieved from the inn, so people have actually been moving into these quite happily. You can see them just sort of hanging out over there. And yeah, another little innovation is, remember how, like, completely and utterly backed up the pumpkin farm was down here? Well, we've moved the farmers, and, geez, we are still working through the backlog, but we're using that to generate the bone meal that now goes into our lumber. So we can actually use our massive backlog of pumpkins to actually grow more trees to build more houses. How is that for Swords to Plowshares? And that in totality took over 3 hours, and that was with a break in the middle. So yeah, I am a tired lung today. So yeah, not nearly as much progress as I thought I would get today, but I will say that this section of the island is looking a lot more busy, a lot more interesting, a lot more active, and such, and I'm pretty happy with that. I can kinda see the tree farm from my bedroom window now, so we probably want to put a nice little aesthetic cover onto that fairly soon, but it's looking pretty good. I suppose the biggest problem with putting a cover over it is it might get detonated, but it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I am very happy with this thing. I am indescribably, like, overjoyed with this thing. I can literally just, like, grab a stack of saplings, hold down right-click, and have my, like, just walk away, really. It's lovely. Ah. Loop. I will say, we have burned through our entire backlog of bones already, but it's probably fine. Anyways, that is all that I have for today. I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever next time. Come now, dear viewer, tell me your wish. Is it for money? Maybe for power? Or perhaps you hope for simpler things like bonus content and exclusive streams with your favorite content creator? Really? That last one, huh? Well, that's easy. Just head over to patreon.com/lying. Oh, I kind of expected more.